What's up, y'all? I hope you are having a fabulous weekend. Sunday was going good for you. Thank you for coming to spend some time with us in this Bible trip up in here. And we are going to jam on Luke 14. Let us see what we can get out of it. All right, Lord, we trust in you to deliver the goods.
Yes, Lord.
Because it's all good. All right?
It's all good from him.
All right, here we go. Okay, so 14. One Sabbath, when he went to eat, so he's going to go get his eat on, eat at the house of one of the leading Pharisees. They were watching him closely. That's got to be like, oh, she's trying to eat. You look it up. Man, what you looking at? You guys have you better be eyeing your own cornbread. You can't have my cornbread. Yeah. Why are you watching my cornbread? Don't covet. Thou shalt not covet.
We know in previous books it's because he didn't wash his hands.
Right? It's like, Jesus, you didn't wash your hands. I'm glad you noticed that. Let me tell you, now that you mention it, I'm going to use this as a teachable moment. Okay. Let me see. So, let me get where I am now. There in front of him was a man whose body was swollen with fluid. Right? That's a dropsy. What's it called? Dropsy?
Yeah, in my Bible it says dropsy.
I thought it was just something that somebody needed to pee really bad. Swollen with fluid. And I think it's interesting also that, you got this dude standing in front of Jesus, and he's all swollen with fluid. Why wouldn't they be staring at him? Why are they staring at Jesus?
That's a good point.
He's like, I'd be like,
yeah, that is a good point, honey.
Dude with all the fluids, you seen that? All the fluid, kind of swole. Jesus asked the law experts and the Pharisees the same thing we asked him. Why y'all staring at me? Why ain't you staring at this dude with all this fluid? In the response, Jesus asked the law experts and the Pharisees, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not? But they kept silent. So he looked at the man, healed him, and sent him away. Let me see. And to them he said, which of you whose son or ox falls into a well and will not immediately pull him out on the Sabbath day? To this they could find no answer. I wonder what that healing looked like. It's like this dude like all swollen with fluid. It's like, you are healed. And he's like, where did all the fluid go? He's like, hey man, I'm trying to eat here. All right. So right. So now this kind of like paints a picture to me to like animal rights activists, man, who almost seem like they place a higher premium on animals than they do on people. They talk about how we should love everybody and love your neighbor and all that sort of stuff, kind of like cherry picking the Bible. But at the same time, it's like they have more of a reverence for animals, than they do for people. And, that doesn't seem to add up to me. I've seen this, I saw this viral video, and it was a really sweet video, guys. It was, a woman who has, epilepsy, and trained the dog, to put its head, so she wouldn't, bang her head on the floor, in the event that she has a seizure. The dog is trained to, put its, head under her. And, that's really, and I saw a comment from somebody who said, we don't deserve animals. Animals are like so, noble and sweet and stuff like that. And it was, almost as if to say, animals are too good for us, and I'm like, dude, that dog had to be trained to do that. Yeah. It's almost like an animal has this just automatically do that. Now, some instances you may have a pet that has like an instinct to be able to recognize when someone is in danger and stuff like that. But for the most part, you got to tap into that instinct to train them. And you train them with rewards. You know, when you train an animal, it's not like something that they just do automatically. You basically you got to pay them. You know, so I mean, you think about people, it's like, oh, people only do things for money, and you know, they're not genuinely motivated to help other people, and you know, it's all about greed. You want greed? Look at a dog. A dog will snatch. A cat will snatch. They covet all the time. They're always coveting your stuff, sitting at your lap, waiting for your food, coveting your stuff all the time. And you turn your back, they will snatch your food off your plate. Okay, it's like animals are so much better than people. They're so much more moral or something like that. And you know, and it's like Jesus is like, it's like, man, you guys wouldn't even trip about saving your ox or something like that, or one of your cattle from danger on the Sabbath day. But meanwhile, a person needs your help, and you're gonna judge me for helping this person on the Sabbath? I was like, are you serious? But people are like that. You know, people, unfortunately, people are like that. And so.
But the Proverbs do say to observe the ants and the rodents.
True. Yeah, it's like, you know, we have scripture like that tells us to observe it, but it doesn't exactly tell us to learn morality from animals. You know, observe their work habits. You know, liberals they don't talk about that.
That's true.
They don't talk about it. It's like, you know, like animals that prepare, you know, for you know, and store up things, you know, for the certain seasons and stuff like that. You know, and you know, the Bible mentions things about that, but it doesn't, you know, it's not like a book you want to turn to look for how to behave with each other like animals, you know, morally, or things like that. So anyway, I was just making that observation. You know, it's like, you know, with animals and stuff. You know, you still gotta pay an animal, you know, and people say stuff like, you know, we should behave more like animals and stuff like that. It's like, no, y'all, the problem with the world is that people behave too much like animals. We give into our animal instinct way too much. That's our problem. You know, if you want to learn from something, learn from God. Don't learn how to be with other people from animals. Like I said, animals, like I said, will covet your stuff, steal your stuff. Animals, you know, can be they like to mate around a lot too. You know, so you know, there's a lot of behavior that you do not want to emulate with animals. That's a big, and people tell each other that, and they think that that's enlightening or something. Oh, if only we behave more like the animals. They're so loyal and they're so this and that. It's like, look, if you don't feed your dog, you might find that your dog may come up missing. Go across the street, somebody and find somebody else who will feed him.
Exactly.
Okay, there's dog. You know, a dog has a loyal nature, yeah, but you know, a dog is gonna be more loyal to somebody who's gonna feed him more.
Yeah, and these are the same people who will argue, well, we've evolved from the animals and we're slightly, you know, we've evolved to be slightly better now. But then they'll argue what you just said. We should act more like the animals.
Right, yeah, it's like, why would we want to devolve to act like something that we evolved from? Yeah. You know, it's like,
according to them, yeah.
Right, you know, an animal's not going to evolve with this, you know, moral behavior. I think as the saying goes, if animals really evolved in the, you know, could evolve with their morals, a shark would be one very polite creature. You know? Anyway, let me see. Let's move on to, so they had no answer for him when Jesus busted out. It's like, he got them thinking. You know, they got them thinking about that one. So now he told a parable to those who were invited when he noticed how they would choose the best places for themselves. When you're invited by someone to a wedding banquet, don't recline at the best place. Don't go chill at the head table. Okay, don't go chilling at the head table. You may let me see, because a more distinguished person than you may have been invited by your host. The one who invited you, both of you, may come to you and say, "Give your place to this man," and then in humiliation, you will proceed to take the lowest place. So basically, the moral of the story is those who exalt themselves will be humbled or humiliated, you know, more appropriately, and those who humble themselves, you know, will be exalted. You know, so you know, check yourself before you redirect yourself. You know, don't be going up there, you know, trying to, you know, grasp on the prestige or anything like that. That, I guess you haven't really, I don't want to say earned, but, prestige that, hasn't been made clear to you that you haven't been given. It's like, if he walks you over to the table and says, sit, please sit down here, that's one thing, but just to go over there and assume it. And that speaks to, and the reason why this is important, y'all, is that we have, man, we're in a generation that's like that. The whole, I own this generation, this self-exalting generation that we have that really just wants to prop itself up like they are all this and a bag of chips.
I thought our generation was bad. But.
Right? How it's like, this is, I own this, and people just be wanting to floss like all day. And really don't have that much substance to them. Yeah. And end up learning the hard way. It's like, dude, you're a little full of yourself. People be coming out of college, and having these college degrees and can hardly find a job, thinking they're all that and stuff.
You can hardly say a sentence.
Right? These attitudes that that people have. It's like, and I guess any generation. We look at the next generation coming up, and we just think that they're full of themselves. And chances are they got it from us.
Yeah.
They probably got that full of themselves behavior.
Generation X raised the millennials.
You know what I'm saying?
So boomers raised us.
Right? So, we look at these people nowadays, it's like, look, man, we got to take some responsibility for that. I'm sorry, we do. We do. This generation that's coming up, they want to sit at the head table. They're the leaders of tomorrow. We told them that too. I believe the children are future. We did a lot of that too. But it wasn't about the pride. It was pride in itself. It's my child. My child is the future. It's like and bestowing all this stuff on them, pumping their heads up and stuff like that. And they kind of lack a little bit of humility.
Yeah.
And but they got that from even us because of us lacking the humility. Yeah. So they had to learn from somewhere. Amen. And like I said, they want to sit at the head table, and it's like, dude, you really need to stay at the kiddie table for a little while. You haven't really emotionally and mentally graduated from the middle what table is it? The young folks table. Dang it.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
People that say, man, when you turn your hat around and put it on forward, maybe you could graduate from the little kids table. Hey, you leave me alone. You leave my hat alone.
You're going to be sporting that when you're 90 years old.
That's right. 90 years old. I want to be raptured before then, man.
Okay, so we're talking about the entitled mindset.
But I'm glad you want to keep me around that
long. Oh, of course.
All right. So what we talking? Let me see. You will proceed to the lowest place, and where we at? 10.
I was just thinking I'll be putting that hat on you and your Depends too.
Depends. Don't even get me started on it. Try to keep it Christian up. But when you are invited, go and recline in the lowest place, so that when the one who invited you comes, he will say to your friend, brother, move up higher. You will then be honored in the presence of all the other guests. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and the one who humbles himself will be exalted. All right. Learn that, young folks. Learn it. It's a wonderful lesson. All right. He also said to the one who had invited him, when you give a lunch or dinner, don't invite your friends, your brothers, your relatives, your relatives, or your rich neighbors, because they might invite you back. Hey, you know I'm playing, because if you guys are been down with me and stuff like that, you say I got love for you. You gonna come to this party, all right? But let's dig into why would he say now? Now let's go further, okay? Your brothers, your relatives, or your rich neighbors, because they might invite you back, and you would be repaid. On the contrary, when you host a banquet, invite those who are poor, maimed, lame, or blind, and you will be blessed because they cannot repay you. For you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. Now, I want to say again, to those who say that the Bible is some man-written book, this right here is another one of those examples. The Bible's full of examples. It's like, all on and on. But this right here is a glowing example. It's like, no, the Bible is not authored by man. It's just not.
Yeah.
And how do we know it's not? Because when you read something like that, that goes against our human instincts. You're not going to invite, your friends, your family, people of affluence or prestige or something like that. You don't want them to attend your party. It's like, don't invite them. It's like, no, I do want to invite them. These are the people that I want at my party. I want people like-minded people. I want people, that I can network with and schmooze and all that sort of stuff. That's the people I want at my party. And for all the talk, the high idealism talk that we, give about, oh, we should help the poor. And please don't misunderstand what I'm saying, because yes, helping the poor is a good thing. Helping the poor stay poor is not a good thing.
Amen. Helping
the poor get out of poverty is a good thing.
Yes, yes.
Hey, don't enable somebody in poverty. Help them, get out.
Yes.
But the thing is, we talk about, these high ideals of like, helping the poor and stuff like that. It's like, look here. You can talk about that stuff all you want to, going down to the soup kitchen and going down to Skid Row and helping them, stuff like that. But you ain't going to find too many of these same people who going to throw a party and invite these same people to their house. They ain't going to do it. Okay? It's got the NIMBY thing, not in my backyard.
Right.
Okay? I'll help you. And yes, look, I've done my good deeds, see I'm a good person, all that sort of stuff. But you're not really going to hold parties for them. No, you're just not. That's going to be something like very, very rare. And also I want to say, and the thing is, y'all, but the Bible is telling us to do that. Now, but let's not get it twisted though. What's your motive? What's your motivation when you do that? It's like, of course Jesus wants fellowship. Of course he does.
Yeah.
You turn water into wine for fellowship. So it's like, when he throws parties, not everybody there is going to be, lame or poor or anything like that. That's not the point here. It's like, is this all just some self-serving, networking, phony event for you to host, just so you can floss? And where you actually have, or because chances are you be with these people and, you smile in their face and a phony laugh and stuff like that. The second they turn it back, you start gossiping about them. It's like you don't really have any love or respect for these people or anything like that. It's not like that. It's like he's like, don't throw parties like that. And we talk about these people all the time. Their little cocktail parties where they get together and schmooze. There's a lot of stigma attached to that anyway. Because they're a bunch of fake people.
The limousine liberals.
Right? Yeah, exactly. These people, a lot of times these people are really fake. And the only reason why they hang around each other is because they think they have something to gain from it. And now then even family. But now when you have like-minded fellowship and you're gathering, and the Lord is your motivation. You get in there and you just want to fellowship and you want to discuss ideas and things like that and grow together. That's something else. And chances are, if you are those kind of people who really want to be a contribution or want to be contributors to society, you'll have those people at your party, but you'll also have the poor there too. It's like if you really want to, help them, if you really want to take those ideals, those high ideals that you have for your fellow man and woman, well, why can't they be at your party too?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what God is talking about. It's like, we get together in our little high society parties and stuff like that, and we talk about, the haves and the have-nots and things like that. And you discussing that with each other. You're talking about, these ideas that you have or these plans or whatever of what you can, convey or do about those less fortunate. Like, well, have them at your party. Oh, but you wouldn't. But now that's a risk though. Some of these people don't know how to. They may not know how to behave around high society folk. And then they get around people, and and you can't be coming around because you be eyeballing your silverware all the time. Wonder if you're gonna have to take a trip down to the pawn shop the next day and reclaim some of your stuff. So it's a difficult thing. This is a thing that would go against our human instincts to do. Bible is not man authored. This is divine, y'all. If you're able to pull this off, that's when you're getting into godliness.
Yes.
Okay? Okay, now let's look at 15. Let's see. When one of those who reclined at the table with him heard these things, he said, man, you must be out your mind, aren't you? He said to him, the one who will eat bread in the kingdom of God is blessed. All right. Then he told them, look here, man. A man was given a large banquet and invited many. At the time of the banquet, he sent his slave to tell those who were invited, come, because everything is now ready. Man, I pause right there, man. That's like I'm thinking about when the Lord says, I go to prepare a place for you.
Yes.
Get your behind up here, man. Let's go. You know, because it's ready. It's like, man, I had to soak that in for a second. All right. Then he told him, a man was given a large banquet and invited many. At the time of the banquet, he sent a slave to tell those who were invited, come, because everything is already. But without exception, they all began to make excuses. Man, this is kind of scary, man. That's a scary thing to read. Without exception, meaning there was all of them. All of them said, all of them started to make excuses of why, you know, it's not a good time for me. This is of why they're going to reject this invitation. That's a scary thought. You know?
It is, honey.
Now, maybe that's because, you know, I mean, if we take it at its word, it's like, well, nobody's going to take the invitation. But this is a parable.
Yeah.
You know, and parables are made for illustrative purposes. And the parable sometimes will say things in extremes to shock you into really paying attention to what the corn is going on in this parable. And
Yeah.
so some people get it twisted and think that, you know, it's like, oh, you're supposed to take it totally at face value. It's like, no, that you gotta acknowledge the hyperbole in it. You know, remember, guys, in Jewish tradition of conveying stories, you know, it was a lot of this was passed on orally.
Yeah.
Okay, so when they would speak on this, they kind of like, you know, did the tall tale things, you know, really exaggerated, really, you know, speaking in hyperbole, so the next generation would remember it.
Yeah.
You know, and you really got to hit home with it. It's like, tell it like, you know, like really bold, really big, like really extreme. So it's passed on. You know, you don't forget this stuff. And Jesus is relating to them and letting him know that, yo, man, I'm a legit Jew. I'm speaking to you in this hyperbole Jew language.
Yes.
All right, to make sure that you know that I'm on the up and up with the culture. Okay, I'm one of you. Dang it. So let's make sure that we got that.
Jesus used stories.
Stories.
Explain to people.
Illustrations. Yes, right.
Must be a good method.
Right? Yeah, I like it. Hope we can do more of it.
Amen.
But without exception, they all begin to make excuses. The first one said to him, I bought a field, and I must go out and see it. Can you excuse me? Jesus like, excuse me, what, did you break wind? Right. All right. Another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen. I'm going to go try them out. Stop. What? You just made it something
You're
else.
already giggling.
No, just the word ox is funny.
Yeah, right.
Hey. And I'm going to try that out, and I ask you to excuse me. And another said, I just got married, and therefore I'm unable to come. So the slave, turn that thing off. So so the slave came back and reported these things to his master. Then in anger, the master of the house told us, now hold on, let's back up really quick. So making excuses, it's like, remember what we just said? We were just talking about the rapture. And it's like, come on, let's go. Y'all. And I've talked about this before about how, you know, the way I read the rapture happening, does it not say that the dead will rise first? Okay? The dead will rise first. And let's take that as, according to this is the announcement. Hey, it's going down. The place is ready. The dead are rising up. Now, there's still going to be people. It's like, and I see God doing this in his mercy, in his just. He's like, look, at this moment, you have people who are dead, floating in the air. What more of a signal do you need? What more proof do you need that I am the resurrection? I'm for real, y'all. Hey, I'm for real. Are you going to take this invitation or what? And there's going to be people who are going to make excuses. Oh, how do I know that this isn't some alien invasion? What sort of paranormal activity? They'll bring up paranormalism, but not associated with God.
Right.
You know, it's supernatural somehow, or it's some sort of event that they're going to want science to explain.
Yeah.
Or there's something that, hey, well, I'm not ready for this yet because there's some things that I want to do. There's things that I want to accomplish in the world for my own personal gain. I want to make a name for myself.
Yeah.
Recalling the way that it was in the Tower of Babel, I want to make a name for myself.
Yes.
I want to reach heaven on my own.
Yeah.
I will build this tower. I will reach the heights of my aspirations on my own. Rather than take the invitation of Jesus, who can actually pull you into the air, pull you into the cosmos. But no, you got your own way of doing things. You don't want to follow Jesus' way of doing things. So the invitation is going to be rejected. Everybody's going to have some sort of excuse. Everybody's going to try to reason away, you know, why it is that they shouldn't, you know, take this jump with the Lord. So let's see. And another said, I just got married and therefore I'm unable to come. So the slave came back and reported these things to his master. Then in anger, the master of the house told his slave, man, you take your behind out there quickly into the streets and the alleys of the city and bring in here the poor, the maimed, and the blind. Who are that? That's us. That's the Gentiles. Okay? The ones who were making excuses, well, those were the Jews. They should have been, they were supposed to be the first in line to take the invitation.
Yeah.
They the chosen folks. Right? So, you know, all due respect, you know, to my Jewish brothers and sisters, you know, it's like, dang, you know, why y'all gonna pass this up, man? But, you know, hey, you know, but we're gonna try to do our part to say, hey, man, y'all want some of this, man. Aren't you jealous for a little bit of what God has given us? But come on now.
Yeah,
right?
we see evidence of that happening now.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. You know, we got our, you know, Messianic Jews coming into the house, you know, so amen. So let's see. Then in anger, the the house told slave, okay, read that. Oh, go get the, here are the poor, maimed, blind, and lame. Master, the slave said, what you ordered has been done, and there's still room. Okay? My house, my mansion, has got many rooms, and they still all need to be filled up. And then the master told the slaves, go out into the highways and lanes, and now wait, let me read that again. Then the master told the slave, go out into the highways and lanes and make them come in, so that my house may be filled. For I tell you, not one of those men who are invited will enjoy my banquet. Okay, once again, when we talk about slavery, we're not talking about, you know, forced slavery. It's like indentured servitude or a servant or something like that. But we're even a spoil of war. But we're not talking about kidnap this person, made them, and forced them to be a slave. Okay? For those who keep trying to say that the Bible's pro-slavery, no, it's not. So let's see. Then the master told the slave, go out into the highways and lanes and make them come in. Okay, let's look at that really quick, because people be like, see, the Bible tells you, Christians, to go out there and force your beliefs on other people. Does it not say that the master said go out and make them come in? It's like, no, man, that's not what that means. All right, let's break it down. First up, this is one slave. One. You mean to tell me that one slave is going to go out there and force and compel a population of people to come in? It's like, all right, what is he like? Bruce Lee Christ or something like that? Point, you know, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to, you know, it's like he's a one-man ISIS that's going to get out there and terrorize all these people and force them to come in. It's like, no, it's one slave that's going to go out there and he's going to urge them. He's going to try to give the most compelling promotion that he can. It's like, dude, you got to come in here. You got to.
The word was anankasan.
Right, in the Greek, anankasan, and forgive me if my pronunciation is bad. But this is when we're talking about it's to strongly urge. Yeah. Hey, this is not coercion. This is not any sort of terrorism. This is not, you know, forcing them to do anything. It's just it's a strong urging in the sense of how can I put this? Let's say you got a burning building and your loved one is in there. Okay? And you want to run in and you want to save your loved one. Now, a person, chances are you're going to get fly tackled if you try to do that.
Right.
And they're not going to let you go in there. They're going to compel you. Right? But it's not the kind of compulsion of, look, when you try to go in that burning building, I'm going to blow your brains out. That's not what we're talking about. This person is going to try to restrain you for the purpose of saving your life. So this isn't coercion. This is just compelling. Let me see. Or another instance, or you can think of it like this. Imagine a person is drowning. Okay? A person is drowning, and you know, you're gonna try to save them. Now, when a person is drowning, man, once you get up close to them, you know, you got to be prepared for that. It's not easy to save a drowning person. A drowning person will try to drown you in the process. They don't mean to. It's just survival instinct.
You know this from experience.
Okay? So, a person, you know, they'll try to use you as a flotation device, and they will climb all over you and shove you down to try to stay on top of you. Okay? So you may have to knock them out. Boom! To save them. You may have to do something compelling to let them know, dude, I'm trying to save your life. Okay? This isn't coercion or anything like that. You know, and I mean, yeah, I know that from personal experience. You know, I mean, you'd be surprised how strong a small person can be. You know, I'm trying to save a cousin of mine from drowning, and I don't know where he got all that strength from. You know, but it's like, I didn't know that I may actually have to incapacitate him. You know, it's like, dude, I may actually have to not. I didn't know. I was just like, dude, I'm going to save my cousin from drowning down. Man, he almost drowned me. I blacked out. Right? I was going under. I was gone. Bro, as far as, you know, I was just about gone. And out of nowhere, it's like a miracle, man. It's like a miracle. Out of nowhere, I just remember this hand coming in. I don't remember this dude being there. I don't remember him before. I don't remember him after. I just remember a hand that came in and grabbed me. I don't know if my cousin was already out of the water. I don't know if he got, I don't know how he did it, man. I remember being in the middle of that pool and going under and watching things turn black. And I just remember a hand. Now, the weird thing about it is that I don't know how this hand even had the leverage. Where could he be where he would have the leverage? What part of the pool could he be leaning on to where he could reach? It's a big pool. To reach in and grab me and pull me out. You know, it's like, you know, wrist can be strong, but wrist ain't that strong. You know, but that's a lot of leverage to put on an arm. Yeah. You know, from where is it, dude, where were you standing when you did that? So it's like a miracle. I take it as a miracle. Yeah. Even if a person can present the dude who did it, it was a miracle that he was there.
Yes, amen.
Okay, so it's you know, thank you, God. But all that to say, y'all, the point of me saying that is, even when trying to help my cousin, you know, it wasn't me trying to coerce him or anything like that. It was a compulsion. It's like, look, man, I need to help you out of here. I'm trying to help you out. You know, but in doing so, I may even have to use some force that I really don't want to use. So these are like instances of like when we're talking about the slave, and he's not out there trying to threaten or coerce or anything like that. So let's, you know, don't let the, you know, the Bible bashers try to use that against us and say that, oh, you Christians are instructed to get out there and force people or make people adopt your beliefs. It's like, no, that's not the case at all. So let's see. Now, for I tell you, none of those men. Okay, so for I tell you, not one of those men who were invited will enjoy my banquet. It's like, look, y'all, don't pass up this invitation. Don't pass it up. You know, don't be left out. Weeping and gnashing the teeth in outer darkness. Don't do it. Okay. Now the great crowds were at 25. Now great crowds were traveling with him. So he turned and said to them, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his own daddy and his mother, wife, and kids, brothers, sisters, yes, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. All right? Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Okay? And notice that it says, bear a cross. You put on the cross, yes. Don't mean not cross dress. All right? Don't get it twisted. Just put the cross on. Not, you know what I'm saying. All right. Me and does not. Look here. So now, again, now it's like people look at it and say, Jesus is telling us, you know, you're Jesus, you because you actually have some that try to make Jesus, you know, you got those who try to make Jesus out to be all accepted hippie Jesus, and then you got those who try to make Jesus out to be this person who wants to force things on us, or we Christians are trying to force things on us, and Jesus is this you know, militant psychopath. Yeah. Who tells us to do evil things, like you know, hate our parents and kids and our relatives and stuff like that. It's like, look, no, you're taking it wrong. Okay, how is Jesus gonna instruct us to hate his own father and mother when the commandments say to honor your father and mother? Okay, so if you're reading it that way, you know, where you think it's like Jesus instructing us to hate people, you're reading it wrong. Okay? How is he going to tell us to have hatred for these people when he's saying that the greatest of these commandments is to love God with all your heart, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as you would yourself? Yeah. So we got to be careful about, we got to square this with, how are we looking at this? How we're supposed to be looking at this is like this: compared to God. And your love for God must be so paramount that anything else compared to it looks like hatred.
Right.
This is really what it's supposed to come down to.
That's good, honey.
Hey, it's like, look, I have no attachments. You know, I'm nuts about my wife. Okay, I am nuts about my wife. Compared to God, I hate her guts. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to be.
That is the way it's supposed to be.
Why? Why is it like that? Because you gotta love God so much where any love that you would have for anything else is subtracted to where there's nothing else but hate. Yeah. You have nothing. All your love is for God. There's nothing else but hate. And interesting love, I mean, and the thing is, why do we love God this way? Because God is the one with perfect love. He's got the perfect love.
Amen.
The only thing that we can do perfectly with each other is hate each other. We hate each other perfectly. We can't love each other perfectly, though. But we can hate each other perfectly.
Right.
Hey?
Humans are very capable of that.
Yeah, we're really good at that. We can hate each other real good. Yeah. But we don't know how to love each other right. That's why Jesus said, I want you to love God with all. Because when you do, you learn how to love. Yes. And that is when you can love your wife, your parents, your friends. That's when you can love them properly. Trying to love them on our own accord, don't get it wrong.
Yep, exactly.
We mistake love for obsessiveness, possessiveness. People rape people and think that they think it's love. Yeah. You know, as I would say, Hitler thought what he was doing was love. Right. You know, it's whatever that is. None of it is love. Yeah. You know, it may be, you know, emotionally somehow appealing and stuff like that, but you know, ultimately it's toxic. If you don't filter it through the Lord, yes. You know, it's ultimately it's going to hurt others. The key, yeah. You got to filter it through the word. So that's why God is saying. That's why God, Jesus, you know, saying. So why Jesus is telling us, like, look, man, you got to be prepared to hate anybody and anything. Love God first. Yes. Okay? But He's not instructing. It's like, really, this is an illustration, guys. This is not instruction. Okay? This is illustrative to the instruction of what we're supposed to do. Okay? Compared to God, nothing else gets the kind of love that God should get. And compared to your love for God, anything else should be like, you might as well hate that person. Okay? And if you don't love God, you might as well hate that person, because ultimately, you ain't going to love them right. Don't screw them up. I know we be talking, you know what I'm saying? We're going to screw them up. And more generations keep trying to get away from God. And look how the generations are happening. They get screwed up. Okay?
All they talk about is love.
You know, and come on now. Amen. Talk about love all the time. Love wins. Man, they wouldn't know love from shoot. You know? Yeah, it's just not love, man. It's just not. You know, you take more and more they take God out of the mix, the more people screw up what they think is love. Yes. It's getting screwed up. We got a screwed up generation, y'all, and we taught them. Yeah, yeah. Come on, man. We taught them. We got to own up to it. But, you know, our God is a restoring God. It's not too late for us to at least try, man. It's like, we got to try, man. Let's see if we can, you know, turn the tide on this. Yeah. You know, and point people towards the light. This darkness is spreading, y'all. It's spreading, and we're supposed to be salt and light. You know, it's supposed to be that salt and light. So you know, let's see if we can undo a little bit of that damage. You know, get Jesus in the mix, and let's see if we can, you know, point them to the Lord. You know, unfortunately, things are gonna get bad. It's we can't stop some people. You know, there's gonna be a population of people that's just gonna fall away. We can't stop that. It's already written. But y'all, we don't have to help it. You know, we don't have to help it happen. You know, so we do what we can. You know, see if we can, you know, stave off some of the infection before before it takes over completely. And
like putting a word over the internet.
Putting a word, you know, and y'all, I'm afraid it'll take over completely. I guess, you know, when we're removed. You know, when we're removed from here, and then you know, then it's gonna really spread, unfortunately. So don't be here for that.
Amen.
Let's see. And where were we at? Okay. Now, for each of you wanting to build a tower, let's see. For which of you wanting to build a tower doesn't first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, after he has laid the foundation and cannot finish it, all the onlookers will begin to make fun of him, saying, "This man started to build and wasn't able to finish." Okay? Now that's that for me, that hits home. You know, and the thing is, y'all, you want to calculate with wisdom. You know, with the Lord. You know, make sure you do that. And there's a lot of things to calculate. You know, if you're trying to run a business or something like that, there are lots of things to calculate. There's you know, from the materials that you use, the crew that you're going to be working with, you know, what your state taxes are like, what the regulations are like. There's so many things to calculate. There's your demographic to calculate. You know, the dynamics of people's behavior, what they want to shop for, and all that sort of stuff. All these things, you know, play into it, and it's easy to miscalculate. You know, like even with myself in doing things, you guys know that I've been saying for a long time. It's like, look, it's not a good thing for conservatives to be, you know, and Christians to be dependent on a lot of these liberal-owned mediums. Yeah. It's not a good idea to be dependent on these. It's like, you know, Facebook can end up screwing you over. You know, YouTube, Google, you just say, like, conservatives like, oh man, my reach isn't getting out there. It's like, yeah, dude, you got to calculate that in there. It's like I said, we need to be developing our own stuff instead of being dependent on theirs.
Yes.
You know, now I was aware of that, but wasn't able to calculate. You know, because like as y'all know, you know, my livelihood took a hit. Wasn't able to calculate. Well, what can I do about this? But it's hard. But another thing I didn't calculate in the midst, I'm not trying to place blame on anybody, is calculating where my support base would be. Because a lot of people fell away, you know? And it's like thinking that, okay, well, I'm trying to promote this to this dynamic who says that they want, you know, this conservative representation in the culture, and then you give it to them, and then they get scared, right? They don't want to share the stuff because they're afraid of, you know, you know, oh, if I do this, you know, I'm going to get blacklisted in Hollywood or something like that. They don't want what's happening. They don't want to happen to them what's happening to me.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, you know, but some people, it's like, look, man, you know, hey, if we don't do something about our country, it ain't going to matter anyway. So somebody better step up and try to take one for the team or something like that. But, yeah, in calculating the loyalty of people, it's like that was a miscalculation, and a lot of people left me basically out there, you know, forgotten. All right? So, you know, but I forgive you. Right? I forgive you. But I understand. You know, it's like, you know, the calculation of thinking that, oh, these people are going to have it back. No, they don't. Miscalculation.
Not the people watching.
No, of course. If you're watching right now, you know, I got you. And chances are you'll share this video, and I appreciate you. But there's lots of, no, I don't know him. I don't know him. It's like, could I still be in your liberal movie? It's like, you know, that's the way it is. Yeah. Let's see. Or what king going to war against another king will not first sit down and decide if he is able with 10,000 to oppose the one who comes against him with 20,000? If not, while the other is still far off, he sends a delegation and ask for terms of peace. In the same way, therefore, every one of you who does not say goodbye to all his possessions cannot be my disciple. And interesting choice of words here, y'all, because we are at war. You know, and this war takes calculating. And, you know, if we're trying to fight back what it is that liberals are doing to this country, y'all, you know, there's got to be the strategy. And the thing is, it's like we're basically, in almost everything, we're trying to fight a war on their turf. You know? And it's like we need to establish our turf and be supportive of it. You know, the internet itself is like Canaan. You know? Yeah. And you have these strongholds in Canaan that we're supposed to go and overthrow. We're supposed to overthrow, in love, of course. Eh? Not be hostile, not be belligerent, not be dirty or anything like that. You know, but do it in love. And because these strongholds are hateful strongholds against us. Yeah. And they're occupying, you know, the frontier of the internet. And, you know, our job is to go in there and occupy. So let's see. So, and he's basically saying, now, if you're not prepared to say goodbye to all these possessions, man, you can't be my disciple. You can't. That's idolatry. If you're loving all this sort of stuff where it's like, oh, you feel like you can't live without it, you know, like Starbucks. You know, people are like, oh, I can't live without my Starbucks coffee. It's like, look, you know, Starbucks, they don't like us very much. And, you know, and when you're giving them money, you are helping to fund a lot of the liberalism that's spreading in America. It's like, look, I love coffee. I'm a coffee drinker. Yeah. You know, I don't like coffee that much where I go to Starbucks and help fund, you know, how much liberalism is being promoted in America. Yeah. You know, and that's one of their depots, y'all. Yep. And if you're going to Starbucks and you're giving them money because you gotta have, you know, that Starbucks experience, well, there's something else that comes along with that experience, and it's costing us a lot more than that $7 coffee that you get. Yeah. You know, we're ending up paying for it a lot more. Yes. And I know, and the thing is, you know, what sucks is that liberals are involved in so much stuff, and if you didn't partake in a lot of things, babe, we would be really freaking bored. Yeah. You know, because they do produce interesting stuff. You gotta get it's like they have a God-given talent. The problem is they don't use it for him. Yeah, I know. You know, and but people will give them their money. You know, they'll give them their money and you know, go see their movies and you know and buy their clothes and you know and all that sort of stuff. But conservatives, Christian conservatives gotta beg, dude, beg. Please support what we're trying to do so we can come up with a medium to compete with them. Yes. You know, get out there and find some people. We may have to pay them a lot. It's like, you know, pay them, you know, at least something where they say, well, okay, what you're paying me might stave off my fears for a few years where they can live off that. It's like, maybe if I could work in this production, it may settle me for like, you know, a few years. You know, we're going to pay it to compete, you know, to compete with what it is that they're doing. Yeah. You know, it takes money, but, you know, conservatives act like, you know, too many conservatives act like this stuff can be done for free, man. It's like, no.
I used to think that as a conservative, I really didn't understand. I thought this kind of stuff could be done for free.
No, if you want to make it quality, it's an investment. You got to pour into it. You know, you may see people doing it, you know, like, you know, for free, but it don't last long. You know, that it gets played out really fast to try to keep, you know, on top of the competitive aspect of the industry that you're trying to compete with. You know, that is always cranking out, you know, material. Yes. You know, so it's not an easy thing to do. And when it comes to, you know, supporting, because it's like, you know, they don't have, all of a sudden they got money for politicians. Oh, this politician is going to go in there and change things. Politician is going to disappoint the corn out of you every time. They got money for them. Yeah. Government's not the answer, but I'm going to throw my money at this politician. All the time. Happens all the time. Right? You know, all these liberals and everything that they're doing while they go spend money on their products. Yeah. Starts to be like, okay, well, look, you know, we're trying to build this. We're trying to get this produced, and we want to, you know, get things like cranking out there. Can we get some support? Yeah. Okay? Not you guys. Those of you watching, I dig you. Others be like, you're like, oh, be like tipping away and stuff like that. It's like, no, I got you though.
In fact, J. Murray LLC, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. J. Murray LLC says, I'm so happy I found you again.
That's right. Yay! I'm happy too. God bless you. Welcome.
Me happy too.
Right? Okay. And then, all right, to close it up. Just want to read this last part. In the same way, therefore, every one of you who does not say goodbye to all his possessions cannot be my disciple. Okay? So now for me, possessions, y'all, it's like, because I talk about having support to do all this sort of stuff, right? Trying to build something. And for anybody who thinks it's about the money, no, you're wrong. If anybody thinks that it's about me just trying to get these gains, to elevate my stature, to see like that, it's like, no. What I want to do is produce. That's what I want, the funds for. I want to be able to bring you content. That's my interest. It's like I don't know of anything. It's like anything else that I really want in the world is just to be able to say, let's produce this stuff for kingdom business. I want to promote truth. I want to find fun and interesting ways to do it. I don't care if it's music. I don't care if it's drama, sci-fi, just illustrations to promote truth. Not everything even has to be, Christian oriented, as long as it's not apart from God, right? It's like, say for instance, the book of Esther. It doesn't even mention God. Is it apart from God? No. Yeah, you see the point? Hey, so it's like, we could do all these sorts of things. It could even be horror, hey, but holy horror. It's just you know what I'm saying? I know that sounds kind of corny, but you're just like, we can still do that stuff. These fights against good and evil, or spiritual good and evil, supernatural good and evil. Where it doesn't have to be so evangelist oriented. Where it gets into hokey, Christian promotion, where you're actually telling a story, but it's not something that would steer people away from God. That kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? These kind of things to compete. When I'm looking for support, y'all, that's what it's for, guys. It's like I'm not looking to try to get like some, mansion in Malibu. If I have a facility, I want my facility to be useful. I want to use it to produce stuff. That's my interest.
Yeah, you should see the cars we drive. Together, they're both worth about $2,500.
But that's the thing. That's what the support is for, y'all. And people be like, well, Zoe, okay, well, when are you gonna produce stuff? Well, when I get the support, it's like, but thank God, I do have people who support. Helps me to be able to go online and stuff like that, and I'm able to produce a nominal amount of works. But to produce, what I'm talking about, honestly, it would take a lot of support. And that's not to belittle any of the support that anybody gives me. I'm very, very thankful for it. But to do the things that I've spoken of for a while, that takes pretty powerful degree of support. It takes that support that a lot of y'all, that a lot of Christians and conservatives, be giving liberals. Okay, if the support that you guys give to them, that dollar vote that you give to them to keep producing their stuff, well, you see what they produce with it. Yeah. They produce quality crap. Okay? That's what they do. They produce quality crap. Yeah. It looks good. It's great eye candy, but it's not redeeming at all. Yeah. But, they get the money for it.
People are going to hell with these movies and entertainment.
Right.
That stuff that's filling people's heads. But the point is to infiltrate the culture for Christ.
Right. And then lastly, it's going to say, now, salt is good. You hear that, honey? The Bible says salt is good. Jesus said,
cup of salt on here.
Jesus says salt is good. So when I be like, putting that salt on my breakfast or on my steak or whatever, when I'm able to, pry one away from a dog or something like that. Give me that steak. Now, if you putting that salt on it, Jesus says it's good. You're using too much salt. No, Jesus says salt is good. Okay? Now, salt is good, but if salt should lose its taste, how will it be made salty? It isn't fit for the soil or the manure pile. They throw it out. Anyone who has ears to hear should listen. Okay, and Lord, have been listening. Been reading that verse, and I'm like, okay, God, how does salt become less salty? I mean, less salt is not salt. I mean, how does salt lose its saltiness? I mean, there has to be something that constitutes what salt is in order for it to continue to be salt. I don't know how salt can lose its saltiness. Yeah. You know, God said, go ahead, read. Read, pray about it. And the thing is, and Lord, and letters we got to explore. It's like, looking online and trying to look up the reviewing, going back and man, let's get back into our old high school chemistry mode. What is the chemical makeup of salt and how can it become less salty and stuff like that? And then looking at and came across some pastoral commentary and it's like, thank you God for leading us to this, and it made sense. Salt doesn't become less salty unless it's diluted. When you dilute salt, it will become less salty. Salt on its own doesn't become less salty. It becomes less salty when it's diluted. So any of us who are trying to dilute the gospel, you trying to mix it with something else, hey, you trying to twist it into what you think it should be, trying to make this image of Jesus according to what you think Jesus should be, according to what his word says. Mixing Christianity with other things, like talking about, I'm a Christian, but I believe in karma. Or I'm a Christian, but I don't believe that Christ is the only way to heaven. Or claiming some denomination or anything like that, claiming some sort of style of Christianity other than what is biblical. Right. Your salt will get diluted. Your salt won't be worth nothing. Yeah. And we're supposed to be salty. We're supposed to be flavorful, y'all. We're supposed to make the gospel savory. Get out there and make people be like, that was delicious. You got some more? How else are you going to deliver this to me? Because that was fantastic. Yes. Right? We're supposed to use the salt to preserve the word. The word is getting twisted up, y'all. Oh, goodness, yes. Is it not getting twisted up? Yes, it is. We're supposed to preserve it. I mean, I think it's interesting that Jesus says, yes, be salt. Preserve my word. Yeah. Because it gets corrupted. That's good. It decays. Now the word of the Lord is going to last forever. Right. But in the time that we have it, we get it twisted on how it's supposed to go out there. Yes. The messenger itself, decays. And the message that we put out there can decay in how we deliver it. And Jesus says, no, man, you gotta be like that salt. Don't get diluted. All right? Anyone who